Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Niti Namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Uttam karoti vachalam pangum langayate girim yat kripa tamaham bande Shri Gurum Dinatarinam Paramananda Madhavam Shri Chaitanya Ishwaram. Hare Krishna, we'd like to welcome all of our YouTube Live listeners, our listeners over Facebook Live, and our dear listeners over Zoom. Welcome to all of you to this day 4 of Sri Rama Lila Madhuramrita. Today, we will be discussing a very, very wonderful topic. Yesterday, we had covered the epitome of shelter, which is Lord Ramachandra displaying his opulence as the Sharanagata Vatsala, who gives shelter to everyone, whoever come, saying to Lord Ram, Tavasmi, that I take shelter at your lotus feet, O Lord Ram. Lord Ram always gives them shelter. So we discussed pastimes like the beautiful mellows of friendship between Nishad Guha and Lord Ramachandra. We saw the mercy to the boatman Kevat. Then we saw the episode of Shupranakha. Then we saw the secrets, some of the real mystic secrets that are behind the kidnapping of Mother Sita. Then we saw the protection of Jatayu and what we learn from the life of Jatayu, victory in defeat, that even in defeat, there is victory always for a devotee. Then we saw the sweet, loving exchange between Lord Ramachandra and Mother Shabari. And we finally ended with the shelter given to Vibhishan by Lord Ramachandra. So today, we will be covering
about the glories of Lord Hanumanji, the wish fulfiller of the Lord, the epitome of service. So here we can see how Sri Hanumanji is one of the epitome of the service of Lord Ramachandra. He is in the Dasyaras. In fact, one time, if we see, Sri Hanumanji was very, very lovingly served by Anjane, by Anjani Devi. And that's why he was called Anjaneya. His name was Sundar, that his mother had kept. And she would always feed him nice fruits, and we can see red, red fruits. And Hanumanji would love that. And one day he saw the sun, reddish hue. He was like, wow, this is such a wonderful fruit. I want that fruit. And he started flying towards that fruit, the sun. And he tried to gobble it up completely. And then Rahu came and he gobbled up Rahu also. But then, as he was enjoying this wonderful fruit, everywhere in the universe was darkness. And so Indra came to protect the universe. So what's happening? Who's doing this? He came on his Airavat with his thunderbolts. And in order to protect the universe, thinking of little Sundar as an offender, he hit him on his chin. And since Indra hit on his chin, Hanumanji or Sundar, he went flying away. And the chin is called Hanu. Because he was hit on the chin, he was called Hanuman.
Oh, Jai Hanuman ki Jai.
And then Hanuman, as soon as he became Hanuman, he fell in Vayu's arms. Vayu was very, very offended. How dare you hit my child? And so Vayudev stopped air from the entire universe and took Hanumanji into a cave.
And at that time, the Devatas, they did not know what to do because in the universe there was no wind. Because Vayu is Pavandev, the god of wind. And he stopped all the wind. So no one was able to even breathe. So all the Devatas, they came and approached Lord Brahma. Lord Brahma said, don't worry, don't worry. Let us all go and see little Hanuman. So all the Devatas, they came. They came and they gave their special blessings to this little Hanuman, which pleased Vayudev, Pavandev very much. And then he started again the flow of wind. He started it in the universe. It is said that the different devatas, they came and gave different items, articles to Hanumanji. Each and every one of them presented different kinds of articles to Hanumanji. It is said that Dhanvantari came and gave Hanumanji the divine touch of healing. He had that special power of healing within him. When Sugriva was very much hurt the first day after battling with Vali, Hanumanji actually touched him. And Lord Ram gave him a hug and he was completely relieved. Sugriva was completely cured. So Dhanvantri gave him that healing touch. And he received a very special gift from Lord Brahma himself.
He received a diamond necklace from Brahma. And Brahmaji said, this diamond necklace will be invisible.
Hariyo.
However, only you can see it and your true master can see it. Whoever is able to identify and see this necklace, understand he's your true master.
Hariyo.
And with all these powers that the demigods had bestowed, Surya bestowed that you will never feel the heat, which he was able to use in Lord Ram's service. But because such a small child getting so much powers, no one there to guide how to use it, how to utilize it, he just started doing mischief. And with all this mischief, he would sometimes go to the sages in the ashram and he would he would dive inside the water and pull their legs while they were doing Gayatri. Or sometimes he would take their dhotis, which were on the banks of the river, and tie them to the trees.
One time, he actually came in the night to the house of one sage and he just did something great mischief. And then he went and hid. So then the early morning in the Brahma Muhurta time, to answer nature's call, the sage, when he came out, what did he see? That as soon as he opened the door, he saw that there was a tiger tied up. Who ties up a tiger in front of the house? And then he got very scared. He just ran back inside his cottage. And then he said, okay, but I have to answer nature's call. There's no bathroom inside the house. It is always outside that they had to go to answer nature's call. So he said, okay, let me go from the back. And when he was going to go from the back, he saw that there was a wild, mad elephant that was tied at the back. And then the sage didn't know what to do. He was just confused. What should I do? What should I do? And then what did he see? That on the side, little Hanuman is standing on the side and he's winking and he's laughing and he's saying, see? This is how I'm going to now torture you. So that sage, he got so angry at little Hanuman that he gave Hanumanji a curse.
That curse was, you will forget your powers immediately because you're misusing them. But since you're a child, I will also tell this. You will remember them when one reminds you of these powers. But until you are reminded of these powers, you will not be able to remember them, you'll forget them. So then Hanuman, he suddenly kind of transformed. He went back walking. He became very sober. Usually he would go jumping from one tree to another and creating havoc and enter through the window of his house inside Kesari's home. But this time he went walking, became very sober. And he went to Kesari. Kesari said, "What happened? How come you're entering from inside the door? You didn't come through the window?" And Hanuman said, "My dear father, I want to study." So then he was chosen to go to the Surya school. And his father approached Suryadev. Suryadev had a very special school. That school of Suryadev was a flying school because Suryadev is on a chariot. He is going around. If Suryadev stops, the entire world will just crumble. So Suryadev was flying on a chariot. On his chariot were his 60,000 students.
Haribo.
And Hanuman, when he went to Suryadev, Suryadev said, "Well, I would love for you to be my student, but no vacancy.
Admissions are full.
Admissions are full." And so Hanuman, he was so eager to learn from Suryadev. He said, "No problem. I don't want a seat in your class. I will also fly along with you and learn and take notes. I just want your permission to become your student." Suryadev said, "Sure." And Suryadev was flying, and Hanuman was flying. And then, when he was not able to take notes properly, he started flying backwards so that he can listen to his teacher as well. And then, once his studies were over, Hanuman came to Suryadev and said, "My dear teacher, what Guru Dakshina can I give you? You have given me so much knowledge. As an act of gratitude, what can I do for you?" Suryadev thought for a while. He said, "I don't want anything, but I have a son. His name is Sugriva. He needs some help. I want you to go to Sugriva. If you want to help me, I want you to help Sugriva. With all the powers that you have, with all the qualifications and knowledge that you have." Of course, he didn't have all the powers that were given by the demigods. He had his own powers. But Suryadev said, "Go and serve Sugriva." And Hanumanji said, "Jo Agya, whatever you say." And so he left for Kishkinda and went to Sugriva, introduced himself to Sugriva, and said that, "I have come here on the request of Suryadev and I'm your servant." Now, this we can learn from Hanuman, how he was more qualified than Sugriva in every way, but still, because of the instruction of his Guru Maharaj, he followed the instruction, became humble, remained humble in front of Sugriva, and considered him as his king.
Haribo. So then later we saw how when Lord Ram and Lakshmana were coming to the forest in search of Mother Sita, that time Sugriva and some of the other monkeys, they noticed these two princes coming. So they sent Hanuman because Hanuman had great Shakti by himself. He had a lot of potency. So they told him, you go disguised and you try to find out who these, princes are. Are they again, sent by Vali? So go find out. So then Hanumanji came disguised as this Brahmana. And as soon as he came disguised as this Brahmana, and he inquired and he had the conversation with Lord Ram, immediately Lord Ram asked Hanuman, what is this necklace that you are wearing? As we can see here in this picture, we can see that Lord Ram is directly pointing out to that diamond necklace that Lord Brahma had given to Hanumanji. So Hanumanji could immediately remember that this is my worshipable Lord, Sri Ramachandra Bhagavan. And, Lord Ram, you can see in the back that Lord Ram and Sita are manifesting that this is how, Hanumanji could see his worshipable divine personalities, Ram and Sita, that they are the Supreme Personality of Godhead, that they are his worshipable Lord. So Hanumanji then surrendered himself to Lord Ramachandra, and Lord Ram immediately just accepted Hanumanji, blessed him, and embraced him. Lord Ram embraced Hanumanji so lovingly. This was the first time that Lord Ram and Hanumanji in this Lila, they accepted, they had this warm, loving embrace of each other. And then Hanumanji, he then took Ram and Lakshman on either side of his shoulders, and he again started flying. He came flying and he reached the top of the Kishkinda mountain, and he introduced both the brothers as Ram and Lakshman to Sugriva. So Sugriva, when he heard about Ram Lakshman, the entire story, Sugriva actually started thinking himself to be equal to Lord Ram.
Because he thought, well, I have no wife, and Lord Ram's wife is also stolen. My wife is stolen. I have my kingdom is stolen. Ram also does not have any kingdom. I am sad. He is also sad. So we are equal. And so Sugriva went and started shaking the hand of Lord Ram. Hanuman did not like it. What? He is the Supreme Personality. Sugriva is not understanding. Sugriva gave a tree to Lord Ram to sit on, and he sat on a tree as well, like on a tree branch down. He gave him a tree branch on which Sri Ramachandra sat, but he did not give anything to Lakshman. Ram did not like this. And Hanuman immediately understood the mind of his Lord, and he went and took a sandalwood tree for Lakshman and threw it on the ground, put it on the ground for Lakshman to sit. And then he sat on the floor, indicating to Sugriva that you also sit on the floor. Don't sit on the same level as Lord Ram. He was trying to indicate to him. So this shows that we should follow the etiquette of correcting a leader and counsel the leader in a sensitive way. He did not chastise Sugriva. I know better than you. He is Lord Ram. He, by his own action, he kind of gave an indication by example. And in this way, a leader should lead by example.
So here we see in this picture that Sugriva immediately became very submissive, and Hanumanji, and you see both the brothers Ram and Lakshman sitting in nice asanas, and all the monkeys, including Hanumanji, everyone sitting on the floor. This is the example set by Hanumanji. And one very important point to notice here is that how Hanumanji was able to understand the heart and the mind of his Supreme Personality of Godhead. He was able to understand what his master likes and what his master does not.
Without having to say anything.
And he immediately he acted upon it. As soon as he felt that yes, Lord Ram did not like that Sugriva did not offer a seat for Lakshmana, Lord Ramachandra did not like this. So Hanumanji, immediately understanding the mind of his beloved Lord, he immediately got a seat for Lakshmana. So this is how we need to understand that, how we need to be so much in tune with the Lord so that we can understand even our spiritual master. We can understand the mood of our spiritual master, just like Srila Prabhupada. He understood the mood of his Guru Maharaj. Srila Prabhupada's disciples, they understand the mood of Srila Prabhupada and they act accordingly. So this should be our prayer to our beloved spiritual grandfather, Srila Prabhupada, that Srila Prabhupada please bless us so that we may also act like Hanumanji and understand the mood of our beloved fathers, our Guru Maharajas, and act accordingly. Even they don't tell us anything, but still we act based on their desire. This is an ideal disciple. That is an ideal servant. Jai Shri Hanuman Ji ki Jai. So then we see that Lord Ram, of course, we discussed already how he helped Sugriva regain his Kishkinda kingdom. And after that, Sugriva organized search parties to go into different directions. He said some of the monkeys will go to the north side, some will go to the south side, some to east, some to west. And Hanumanji was leading the team going to the south. Actually, it was not even Hanuman leading. It was Angada was selected as the leader to lead the team going towards the south. And Lord Ram, when all the monkeys were coming, the different search parties, all the monkeys were coming, they were bowing down to Sugriva, their king, and to Lord Ram and to Lakshmana. Lord Ram blessed each and every one of those monkeys. But when Hanumanji came, Lord Ram knew that he is the one who's going to bring the news of my beloved Sita. So Lord Ram removed his finger ring, his ring finger, and he gave it to Hanuman, saying that when you see my Sita, give this ring to her, and she will know that you have come as my messenger. Just see the beautiful interaction between the Lord and the Master. Just as the servant needs to know the mood of the Lord also knows the sincerity of the servant. And the Guru gives also similarly. He reciprocates with different disciples differently. Why? Because of the level of the surrender of the disciple. So Lord Ramachandra had full faith, full confidence that Hanuman is the one who's going to become victorious, not because he's so powerful or everything like that, but because of his sincere devotional love towards Lord Ramachandra. So then, receiving this gift from Lord Ram, the search party headed by Angada, they left towards the south, towards the shores of the shores of India.
And then it was decided it was being discussed, who will go to Mother Sita.
Because when they came to the ocean, they had got many hints along the way. But then when they came to the ocean, they were dumbfounded. How are we going to cross this ocean? How are we going to do that? And they were all sitting praying to Lord Ram. At that time, Jatayu's brother Sampati, he came and he said, oh, nice meal of all of you. And now I will eat you all up. And then Hanumanji, he said that, your brother Jatayu, he saved Mother Sita. He was trying to save and he became a martyr. He left his body trying to save Mother Sita. And we know that Ravana has taken her. Tell us how to go. So then Sampati says, yes, I saw that Ravana was carrying a lady. So you should cross the ocean. So now everyone was shocked. How are we going to cross the ocean? How are we going to do? And at that time,
everyone was thinking maybe Nal, Lil may go. And Nal Lil said, well, we can jump, but not so long. This whole ocean, we cannot cross that by our jump. And then they came to so many others, and all the other big gorillas and monkeys, they just said, well, yeah, we can jump, but not this whole ocean. That's when Jamwan, he came and he said, I know who can do this. And everyone was looking at each other. Who? Jamwan said, Hanuman, you will be, you can cross it. And Hanuman was like, me? He's looking at everyone else and he's like, me? I can't cross it. I don't know. I mean, all these big people, they are able to cross. They, if they are not able to cross it, how can I cross it? That's when Jamban reminded Hanuman of his great qualities. Just like a spirit, just like a guru, a coach. A coach is someone who remains in the background but develops the qualities of the players. Similarly, Jamban. Jamban said, I would have done this if I was a bit younger. I'm here since Satya Yuga. I have crossed when I have seen Vaman Dev. When Vaman Dev grew to the entire universe, I circumambulated his lotus feet 21 times with the speed of mind. Jamban was so powerful, but he said, now I'm old. I cannot do this now. But Hanuman, you, you have special powers. And he started reminding him of all the wonderful powers that the demigods had given. And Hanuman, remembering these as he was being reminded, remember the curse of the sage became a blessing when it was needed for the service of the Lord. The Lord arranged for these qualities to be reminded. And the sage had said, when someone reminds you of these qualities, you will be able to execute them. And so, as he was being reminded, he became bigger and bigger and bigger because he understood now, this is, yes, I have the power, I have this power. And that was all because of Jamwan. No one knows this. No one, I mean, people know this, but no one really glorifies Jamwan. He was the one because of whom Hanuman was able to cross to Lanka, cross the ocean. That's when he grew, he was reminded of all his powers and he left. In the same way, Hanuman did the same thing with Bhima. In Mahabharata, we see how Hanuman guided Bhima to be a hero and a leader. So once we become leaders, we should make others as heroes and leaders. That's a true leader. Jamban was a true leader. So then Hanuman jumped from Mahendra and from Mahendra Parvat. And he utilized all 5 elements in the jump: earth, water, fire, air, and ether. In that entire jump to Lanka and back, he used the air, utilized the air himself by traveling through the air. Water is the ocean over the ocean, and ether is the sky that he used. Earth he utilized when he met Mother Sita, and fire, which he used to burn Lanka.
Taking the name of Sri Ram, Jai Sri Ram. Hanumanji just charged forward. And when he was charging forward in the ocean, Hanumanji faced 3 obstacles in the ocean. And the 4th obstacle was faced at the entrance of Lanka. So 4 obstacles in total before he met Mother Sita. Let's go through what those 4 obstacles are. So the first impediment was this mountain called as Mainaka. This Mainaka mountain is, when Hanumanji was flying Mainaka said, "Oh Hanumanji, you are going for such a glorious service. Please, please come on my peaks and rest for a little while. Then you can go." But what did Hanumanji say? Hanumanji said, "No, no. When I am on the mission of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, my Lord's mission, there is no time for Vishram. There is no time for resting." Hanumanji said, "If I need to do Vishram, then I will just take 20 times name of Ram. Because Vishram, Vish means 20 and Ram is Lord Ram." So Hanumanji said, "If I take 20 times the name of Lord Ram, I will have relaxed." So to honor the Mainaka mountain, Hanumanji just touched the mountain's forehead and he went forward. So what does the first impediment represent?
This represents the facilities of performing bhakti. When we are performing bhakti, lot of facilities will come, but those are tests whether we use those facilities for our enjoyment or for Ram's enjoyment. Hanuman passed the test. He touched the Mainaka mountain and used the Mainaka mountain as another point for jumping again, and but did not rest there.
Evil. The second impediment was this demoness Surasa. She is representing competitiveness in bhakti. And Hanumanji could understand who she is. So what did Hanumanji do? She actually opened her mouth and she said, "I'm going to eat you up. I'm going to eat you up." And then Hanumanji said, "Okay, no problem." Hanumanji became small, his gigantic form, he became small like a fly, and he entered the mouth of Surasa. As a little fly, he entered her mouth, and then he came out. He came out again. And then it is said that Hanuman became small and he became humble. He did not care whether I owe my position of my greatness, my vastness. I'm not going to give it up. He didn't care for all of that. He said, "It's okay for the pleasure of Lord Ram, for the service of Lord Ram, if I have to give up my gigantic form and become a small fly." Hanuman immediately gave up all his ego, no ego. With all humility, he became small and he just went inside the mouth of Surasa and he came out. This pleased all the devatas very, very much, that how Surasa was actually sent to test Hanumanji by the devatas. And she then went back again to the heavenly planets. The third impediment was this very, very horrible demoness named Simhika. And Simhika was so envious in nature. She was very, very envious that she would reside in the waters of the ocean, but she would catch everyone, whoever flies above her, she would catch their shadow, and that person would become immobile. They would not be able to go anywhere. So if she would see any birds flying or anyone flying, she would just catch their shadow. And as soon as she would catch their shadow, they would become immobile, and then she would catch them and put them in her mouth. This is how she would survive. So this is how Simhika represents envious people who always try to focus on only faults. They are so filled with envy that there is no way to overcome them with humility. So Hanumanji taught us how to overcome such envious characters. So what did Hanumanji do when Simhika arrested Hanumanji? He actually just said, "Jai Shri Ram." He entered into this because she actually put him inside her mouth. And then Hanumanji just said, "Jai Shri Ram," and he just popped out from the demoness's head and killed her and saved the entire ocean from her atrocities.
Now, if you see, for Surasa, he became big. From big, he became small. And for Sinhika, from small, he became big. And he just destroyed the enviousness. So when we are in the competition of in bhakti, we become small and humble. But if envious people are trying to stop us, then we become big in the service of the Lord.
So we have to overcome envious attacks. So then, after crossing these three oceans, three impediments on the ocean, Hanumanji landed into the land of Lanka. And as soon as he was about to enter Lanka, this is the fourth impediment, that Lankini, the guard who was guarding the city of Lanka, stood there. And she was like the immigration officer. She was standing there that she would not let Hanumanji enter. So what does Lankini represent?
Lankini was the immigration officer of Lanka, and she represents the attachments that we have. And so, how Hanuman dealt with that? He gave a slap to Lankini, and Lankini came to her senses and let him go. So, similarly, when we are becoming attached to our material desires, we should remember Nitai, we should remember Srila Prabhupada, we should remember Hanuman, and then they will slap our attachments, and we'll be able to go to our mission of finding Sita in our hearts.
So Lankini was actually given this benediction that no one without her permission would be able to enter the city of Lanka. And Brahmaji had told her that the day will be your last when you will be hit by a monkey and you'll be defeated by a monkey. That day you can leave the service of protecting the city and you can return to your natural self. So this was how Lankini received, holiday after Sri Hanumanji gave her a nice slap and just relieved her from her service of protecting and guarding the city.
So the important thing to understand is satsang means inspiration to give up our attachments. If we don't get a slap by the sadhus to our attachments, then it's not really satsang. If we don't get hit, if when we go for satsang, we hear lectures, Srila Prabhupada's lectures, Guru Maharaj's lectures, if we hear all these devotees' lectures, unless it inspires us to give up our attachments, then it's really not satsang unless we change. In fact, the whole Bhagavad Gita downloaded in one slap when Hanuman gave that slap. In the same way, then from there, Hanuman went to Sita.
So then Hanumanji, he came to Mother Sita and he actually assumed a very small form so that he didn't want to first scare Mother Sita. So he had a very, very small form and he started chanting the glories of Lord Ram. So this is how it is explained that a speaker should speak, that the speaker should be hidden, but Lord Ram and their glory should come forward so that the hidden Lord in the hearts of the listeners will be able to rise forward rather than the speakers themselves being in the forefront. If the Lord is in the forefront, then the Lord will attract everyone. So this is exactly what Hanumanji did. He attracted Mother Sita by chanting the names of Lord Ram. And when Sita Mata looked, at that time, immediately Hanumanji jumped down. And the first thing he did is that he presented that ring of Lord Ram to Mother Sita, so that Mother Sita would not have any doubt who Hanumanji is. And very, very respectfully, he offered his obeisances to Mother Sita. Look at then he assumed his gigantic form. And he said, I am Hanuman, Mother Sita. Lord Ram has sent me to you. So please You come with me, let me take you. And seeing the ring, of course, Mother Sita immediately was having full faith in this personality. So then
Sita asked, by the way, I saw when you came, you were the size of a cat, and now you're the size of a mountain. What is your real size? Hanuman said, well, I am very small, but for the service of Lord Ram, I can take any size.
Haribo.
That is real humility. That internally we should feel humble, but externally we can manifest anything for service.
So then Hanumanji said, Mother Sita, let's go. I have come here to take you on behalf of Lord Ram. You don't have to stay here. So then Mother Sita said, no, 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 I'm very scared of flying. I can't come now. But then Hanuman said, but you came with Ravana on his chariot. You came flying. So you can come on my back too. I can take you. And I'll be very careful. I promise I won't drop you. You come, just sit on my back. I will take you to Lord Ram. So then Mother Sita said that I do not want to willingly go with you because I want to give the credit of rescuing me. I wanted to give it to my Lord, Sri Ramachandra. So let him get the credit. And you, my dear son, Hanuman, you are so dear to me. So please, you return back to the Lord with my message and tell him that he should come and rescue me. So then Lord Ram was waiting for this message, and Hanumanji, he was blessed by Mother Sita, but then he was caught by the soldiers of Ravana. And then they, as a punishment, they set ablaze the tail of Hanumanji. And Surya Dev had given the benediction to Hanumanji that nothing is going to happen to you by fire or heat. So what did Hanumanji do? He actually then just started burning down the entire Lanka. All of Lanka, Hanumanji started burning. You can see here how ferocious Hanumanji is looking because he was so angry. How anger can be utilized in the service of Lord Ram is exemplified by Sri Hanuman. That how, generally we get angry when someone does something to us. But Hanumanji, as the epitome of service, as the perfect servitor of Lord Ramachandra, he got angry that how could this Ravana, how could he kidnap my dear Lord's consort? So in his anger, he was just burning down the entire city, the golden city of Lanka. And he was saying, you got any more? Come, come, come. Look at the anger in Hanumanji's face. He's so ferocious. He's so angry. This is spiritual. Srila Prabhupada says that Hanumanji became so glorious because of this display of his anger towards Ravana. And then, of course, Hanumanji, he came back to Lord Ram and to Sugriva, and he gave the information that, yes, I know where to go, let's go. They came to the banks of the shores of the ocean, and then the construction of the bridge started. And Hanumanji was collecting mountains, huge, gigantic mountains, and he was floating them into the ocean. He was carrying mountains after mountains from all places, and he was just writing the name Ram. Because what was happening is that Nal and Neel, who were the ministers of Sugriva, these two monkeys were also very naughty, mischievous. And we know how they used to always do nonsense in their childhood. They also had a curse that anything that they throw in the water will never sink. So that curse came to effect now, that Nal and Neel started throwing all these huge boulders into the water and nothing was sinking. But they were just throwing. How to keep them together? So Hanumanji came up with the plan. The plan was that on each boulder, he would first write Ra, and on the other boulder, he would write Ma. So then both the boulders would then come together and would form Ram. So the name, the holy name of Ram attracted the stones to come to each other. And then the entire monkey army, headed by Lord Ramachandra and by Lakshmana, all the monkeys, they then came to Lanka. They arrived at Lanka. The great battle started. When the battle started, Hanumanji would sometimes carry both these two brothers on his shoulders, and they would fight vigorously with all the demons. They would fight so vigorously. Hanumanji became like the chariot himself, carrying these two divine brothers on his shoulder. One day, Indrajit, the son of Ravana, was attacking Lakshmana. And Lakshmana, Indrajit was a very, very great person. He had like a lot of mystic siddhis. And he was very powerful. And what did he do? He struck Lakshmana with his Shakti weapon. And being struck with the Shakti weapon, Lakshmana fainted. When Lakshmana fainted, at that time, Hanumanji got so angry that he just came and assumed this gigantic form in front of Indrajit, and he just ran away from Indrajit, ran away from the battlefield. But Lakshmana was unconscious, and the only way to revive him was to get the Sanjeevani, the herb called as Sanjeevani, which grows in the Himalayas. Now, where is the Himalayas? It is all the way in the north. And they are in Lanka, all the way in the south. Hanumanji said, "My lord, you don't worry. I am here for you." And Hanumanji went flying. And when he reached the Himalayas, he couldn't understand which is Sanjeevani. So he carried the entire Gandhamadana mountain, the entire mountain range of Gandhamadana from the Himalayas was carried by this mighty armed Hanumanji. Hanumanji carried back this Gandhamadana all the way to Lanka. And we can see here Lakshmana, he is fainted, lying down lovingly. Lord Ram is holding him so lovingly in his arms. And Hanumanji came and he dropped this big Sanjeev, this Gandhamadana mountain. And then the Vaidya, the doctor, he was able to identify that yes, this is the herb Sanjeevani. They immediately poured the Sanjeevani, made it into a paste, and they gave it to Lakshmana. And as soon as Lakshmana was given this Sanjeevani herb, Lord Ram put the Sanjeevani herb into Lakshmana's mouth. Lakshmana was immediately revived. And then Lord Ram instructed that, "My dear Hanuman, go and put back the Gandhamadana mountain back to the Himalayas." So Hanumanji did exactly that. So this is how we understand. Now, sometimes we feel the question can be asked that Lakshmana, he is Balaram, he is Anantashesh. How could he have fallen prey to this Shakti weapon of Indrajit? What is the purpose behind this? There are many purposes. First of all, Lord Ram is always wanting. The first reason given by our acharyas is that Lord Ram always wants to glorify his devotees. So he wanted to glorify the service of Sri Hanumanji. That Hanumanji, within one night, he went back and forth from the Himalayas and back again. This is the dedication of Hanumanji. So he wanted to glorify that, wanted to establish Hanumanji as the great servitor. Second thing, very important thing, Lord Ram wanted to give a solace to his dear brother Bharat. You see, what happened is when Hanumanji was flying back with the Gandhamadana mountain, he was flying over Ayodhya. And at that time, Bharat, he saw that this huge monkey is carrying something on his, on his hand. And then Bharat immediately actually shot an arrow and he made Hanumanji fall down to the ground. And he found out, Hanumanji gave all the explanation that your brothers are safe, don't worry, let me go. So this message also, in those days, there was no phone, no other way of communication. So Lord Ramachandra wanted to console Bharat that, yes, the 14 years of exile are about to finish, Bharat. Please have patience. I am coming. This was the message that he wanted to communicate to Bharat. And this is the reason why also this entire pastime was enacted. How wonderful is the Supreme Personality of Godhead? He is doing one activity of rescuing his wife, but at the same time, he is glorifying his servant, Hanuman. He is sending his message of consolation to his brother, Bharat, who is all the way in Ayodhya. This is the mercy of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, that through one activity of the Lord, he takes care of so many things. This is the mystic arrangement of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Each and every Lila, each and every pastime has such deep understanding. And all of these understandings are revealed to us by our very own dear Srila Prabhupada and our acharyas. We are so grateful to our acharyas to reveal these secrets of Sri Ramayana. Thus, Lakshmana was, of course, they won the battle. Lakshmana, Ram, they all won the battle. Ravana was dead. Mother Sita had to undergo the test by fire. We understood why this was done. And after this, Lord Ram, Lakshman, and Mother Sita, all three of them, they were now ready to come back to Ayodhya because Bharat and all the residents of Ayodhya were eagerly looking forward to them. They were waiting for them. So Sri Hanumanji also accompanied the Supreme Personality of Godhead back to Ayodhya. Sugriva, Vibhishana, everyone came. So here we see Ram, Lakshman, Sita, and Hanumanji in the back. In this golden city of Ayodhya, they have returned back to Ayodhya. Ramayan. Ramayan means Ram, Ayan means the return of Lord Ramachandra back to Ayodhya. Jai Shri Ram.
Shri Ram, Sita, Lakshman, Hanuman ki jai. These are the glories of this great servitor of Lord Ramachandra, and we pray to Sri Hanumanji on this day. In fact, on Monday is Hanuman Jayanti. And so this is a very opportune time to pray to him to please remove all the obstacles in devotional service, in our devotional service, and allow us to spread the message of your master, Sri Ramachandra, without restrictions in every capacity. Thank you so much. Shri Hanuman ki jai.
Jai, Jai Shri Hanumanji ki jai. So today we dedicate our kirtan for His Grace Pankajangri Prabhu, for his well-being. He is a little critical right now, so we request all the devotees to please kindly pray for His Grace Pankajangri Prabhu and for all the devotees, for all people around the world who are afflicted by this COVID situation. We pray for everyone that may Lord Nrsingadev protect everyone.
चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः नमो विष्णुपदाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्त स्वामीति नामिने नमस्ते सरस्वती देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देशकारिणे जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Rama Hare Hare Ramachandra Raghuvira Ramachandra Raghuvira Ramachandra Raghuvira Ramachandra Raghuvira Raghuvira Ramachandra Mama Ramachandra Mama Ramachandra Dayasi Ramachandra Dayasi Mama Bhakto Dayasi Mama Bhakto Dayasi Ramachandra Ramachandra Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare 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 Krishna, Hare Rama, Hare Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare 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 Rama, Hare Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Hare Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Ramachandra, Madhuramrita, Ramachandra, Madhuramrita, Ramachandra, Madhuramrita, Ramachandra, Ranatira, 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 Ranatira. Jai Shri Ramachandra Bhagwan ki
Jai,
Shri Hanuman ji ki
Jai,
Lila Prabhupada ki
Jai,
Gaura Bhakta Vrinda ki
Jai, Hare Krishna. So today we open up the lines because the quiz session we will be having tomorrow.
So be ready, be prepared for tomorrow's quiz session. The only session will be quiz. Different questions will be asked. The choices will be given on your screen through Zoom. You can answer those questions and we'll learn as we are going through the quiz questions. And then we'll see the results. How many percent of people answered which particular option? And last time we did this in Gaur Purnima, we got very good feedback from all of you. We've incorporated that in this quiz for tomorrow on Lord Ramachandra. For all these 3 days and
today,
more.
And today,
4 days, including Hanuman, and all the different pastimes of Lord Ramachandra. So revise all the lectures that have been given from Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and on Friday, be ready for the quiz.
So So now we'd like to open up the lines. Keshavi.
Hare Krishna Mataji, Dandavat Pranam. Please accept the humble obeisances unto your lotus feet, Mataji and Prabhuji. For you, both of you from our family, happy Guru Maharaj Appearance Day. And Mataji, I have a question. Like in the class, you were sharing that, when we are preaching, we have to put Lord in front while preaching. I didn't understood that properly, Mataji. So please, can you explain that?
Sure. You see, sometimes, generally, we see that, when we hear Srila Prabhupada, whatever he speaks, we feel so attracted. Our attraction for listening to Krishna Katha increases when we hear Srila Prabhupada. But this one is mainly spoken about, those people who are not devotees. They don't follow what they speak. Those who do different kinds of Bhagavad Saptahas, and they make a big show. They present themselves to be like God, So they put the Lord behind and they portray themselves as everything. So that is what is avoided, needs to be avoided as devotees. When we are glorifying the Lord, we must glorify the Lord and not ourselves. That should be the mood of the speaker. That's how Srila Prabhupada has trained his disciples, and his disciples have trained all of us. Our Guru Vargas have trained us to speak about the glories of the Lord in such a way that everyone's attraction to the Supreme Personality of Godhead develops more and more. So this is more in connection to, those who do not have such, devotee-like qualities. They are just propagating themselves, more like, self-propagation kind of, where the Lord is completely missing. That is what is taught. Hope this helps.
Okay, thank you, Mataji. Thank you, Prabhuji. Hari Bol, Hare Krishna. I'm so excited today to watch. Already you have shared your Rasa Puja, I think, on the YouTube. Maybe Mataji, Vasantara Mataji, she saw already and she shared with me. Kalasudha's Guru Maharaj homage is coming. But I was in your class, so I didn't see that one, Mataji.
Yes,
I missed
actually,
that.
we are coordinating a worldwide effort for the Vyasa Puja. So it started today afternoon US time, and it's going on for 24 hours. Srila Guru Maharaj desired this, that every continent would every country, every place would do. So North America was given 1 hour. We ended up having almost 3 hours. We ended up almost having 3 hours. So we are very grateful to the team that, especially Benita, she made a video in less than 1 hour. She made a video today, just like that. And Rajeshwari, she has made a very wonderful video also on all the instructions that Srila Prabhupada has given to Srila Guru Maharaj, and how we as disciples, as well-wishers, as Shiksha disciples, how we can participate in those and assist our Guru Vargas in fulfilling the mission of Srila Prabhupada. So these videos we were able to show, and it was very, very nice. And it's going on even now. The worldwide thing is going on even now.
Mataji, how can we get the link, Mataji?
I will send it to you. I will send it.
Mataji, what did you say? I'm sorry, I didn't hear.
I will send it to you. Right
Okay,
after.
okay. Thank you so much. Okay, thank you, Mataji. Thank you, Prabhuji. Dandavat Pranam. Hari Bol.
Garima.
Hare Krishna Mataji and Prabhuji, Dandavat Pranam. Oh, Krishna Shri Prabhupada and Gurudev. Today's class was really like what you say. It was so blissful. Today's class. I always want to read Valmiki Ramayana, and I just love Ramayana so much. Of all the books. Yeah, that is true. I just love the Ramayana. how the whole story goes, and like Valmiki Ramayana. I just love it.
Wonderful,
So
Vita.
I just love this class today. Mm, I I just want to ask you that can you please send the link of the what do you say, the Maharaj Vyas Puja?
Sure, I'll send it to you, Vita. We'll send it to you.
Yeah, yeah, and I want to show you my Ram and Sita.
Oh, how cute!
I just
Color
want
and color and send, okay? Color it and send it to us.
I do it in 5 minutes.
Beautiful, Vita. Very beautiful.
Thank you, Mataji and Prabhuji,
Thank you,
Thank
Vita.
for the
Hare
class.
you.
Krishna. Hare
Hare
Bol.
Krishna.
Swarup Krishna Prabhu.
Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. Dhanyavad Prabhuji. Just, just once again. I'll have to move out because both of us listen to you. Wonderful class today. I have a question, and this question I've been harboring for a long time. How could Vedavati or Chaya Sita recognize the ring of Ramchandra?
Yeah, she is, she is Chaya Sita. That doesn't mean that she doesn't know anything. She is an expansion of Sita Devi. Like the spirit of Sita Devi is there. Like she is an expansion of Sita Devi. Just like, um, like sometimes some avatars say, Lord Ram told the sages of Dandakaranya that when I come in Dwapar Yuga as Krishna, I will fulfill your desires. So the incarnations know about each other. The expansions know about each other. It's not like they don't know what ring are you talking about? Where am I? They don't know. They are meant for continuing that pastime, right? When Chaya Sita came and went with Ravana, uh, she was meant to continue the pastime. She was experiencing all these things. She was experiencing separation from Lord Ram also. So they are not like different personalities who have like
Or
no
robos or anything
yeah
like that.
who are like who don't know what is going on. They are actually in the mood of the Lila, and Sita Devi transfers all the understanding and experiences to her. That's why she's Chaya Sita. Sita, she's still Sita, but not the original Sita in that sense. Just like the incarnations are different, but they are still the same.
And the most important thing is also that if she didn't have the qualities of Mother Sita, then she would also agree when Hanuman proposed that I will take you to Lord Ram, come, let's go. She would have immediately agreed. But because she is the shadow of Mother Sita, she wanted to give that credit to her husband to save her.
Hare
So,
Krishna.
Thank you.
Excellent.
Very thoughtful question. Thank you, Prabhu.
thank you so much, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Hari Prasad Prabhu.
Hare Krishna Mataji Prabhuji. Dandavad Pranam. Mataji, thank you so much for your wonderful session. You covered the entire Ramayana in 4 days with the beautiful short notes to us. We learned so many things from this session. How to serve Lord, how to take shelter, everything. We learned many things. Apart from that, many things. That is very, very wonderful. In between, I have a question, but you both answered. So why Lord Lakshmana has fell down and fainted? You answered very good. Prabhuji and Mataji, I have only one question because I'd never read a Ramayana book, but I captured from the serials only, whichever we used to see from childhood, right? How Jambavan accompanied with this troops, Kishkinda troops, I mean Hanumanji troops. So how he accompanied and tried to serve Lord, because I don't know about Jambavan.
Yeah, that's a very good question. In Srimad Bhagavatam, we've spoken about Jamvan when he had done 21 times. When Vamandev pastime comes, that's when we had told about the history of Jamvan and how he joined and things like that. I'll send you
Yeah,
the link for
yeah,
that lecture, Srimad Bhagavatam, during the Vamandev pastime. I'm not
yeah.
exactly able to recollect everything right now. So
No
give me,
problem.
I'll forward you that lecture and let
Yeah,
you know.
yeah, definitely, definitely. I'll read that one. And wonderful bhajan as well. Seriously, whenever I hear it, I feel like we need to cry for the Lord to come in front of us. The way you were singing bhajan is awesome and wonderful. Thank you so much for your wonderful session, for taking us to enter the Ramayana session here completely 4 days. Keep going on, Prabhuji and Mataji. Dandavat Pranam. Hare Krishna.
Uh,
Okay, I'll send some
yeah,
link.
we'll send you the link, Mataji. Vinita Mataji, we'll send you the link. Any other questions?
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Hare Krishna Mataji, Dandavat Pranams. Beautiful lecture, beautiful kirtan, nice Ramayana Katha. So that videos you were talking about Guru Maharaj, could you put that link in the group so that, we can all see that?
Definitely. Why don't we show it to you tomorrow?
Okay. Yeah,
We
that
will
will be
show it
good.
to everyone tomorrow because these videos, they've been really done very nicely. So we will definitely share.
Yeah. And I have another question. Like yesterday, you were saying Chaitanya Mahaprabhu referred to the Kurma Puran, where he found out that Sita was, Maya Sita. So was this not written in Valmiki Ramayana? Did he not write this in the, the real scripture?
Apparently not. Valmiki Ramayana, it is not mentioned. That's what, I mean, we've not read the entire Ramayana. We've just, I mean, the original Valmiki Ramayana, we don't even know whether, the original Valmiki Ramayana, how it is and where it is. But the version that we have that actually inculcates, the one that Bhanu Maharaj has written, that inculcates the quotation from the Kurma Puran about Mother Sita. So apparently Valmiki Ramayana did not have that.
Okay, Mataji. Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. There was a question that if Sita Mata was duplicate, then why this war? It's not like she's duplicate. For example, we have the understanding of Vrindavan Krishna, and then there is a Mathura Krishna.
Vasudev.
Well, so the Vasudev Vrindavan Krishna never leaves Vrindavan, but Krishna left Vrindavan. So we understand that one who left Vrindavan was actually the Mathura Krishna, Vasudev Krishna. But that doesn't mean that he's duplicate Krishna. He's an expansion of Krishna in one sense. Similarly, when Sita Mata when Chaya Sita came, Vedavati, or Vedavati, later she's also called as Padmavati, came to become the consort of Sri Balaji. She was like, there is Vrindavan Krishna and the Mathura Krishna. Similarly, there is this Sita who is always very chaste and pure and is never touched by anyone other than Lord Ram. And then the expansion of Sita Devi goes along with when she's separated from Lord Ram. And then when the time comes to come back, that original expansion of Sita, original Sita comes and the expansion comes back. So that's how we need to understand. It's not like it was duplicates, but it's a different expansion. It was Sita Devi. It is Sita Tattva. In its root, she is Sita only. But just like when we have different moods, Sometimes we are in the home, we have a different mood. With our kids, we have a different mood. When we are in office, we have a different mood. When we are inside the house, we have a different mood. When we step outside the house, we are completely different mood. Inside the house, we may be in very comfortable clothes, just lying around sometimes. But when we go out, as soon as we step out the house, we are very, very strict and very nicely going out. Now, when we go out, we are the same person as the person inside the house, but our mood is different when we go out. With Krishna and Sita and Ram and the Lakshman, all the Vishnu Tattvas and the Radha Tattvas, their personalities are different based on their mood. So when Sita Devi crossed the line, just like when we cross the house line, we become very formal. So, but do we change? I mean, we are the same person. It's just that our mood changed. Similarly, Sita Devi, her mood changed when she was being kidnapped. And that different mood is a different person. Just like Vishnu and Krishna. Vishnu and Krishna are same, but Vishnu is the official face of Krishna.
He is Krishna in office, Srila Prabhupada would say.
Yes, when Krishna is in office, his mood is very majestic. That becomes Vishnu, a different personality based on their moods. Similarly, it was based on Sita's moods. It's a different personality based on the mood, but in a sense, it is Sita. So it's not like it was a completely different person. That is something which we should understand. Just like Dipar Chirevahi Dashantara Abhyupetya. In Brahma Samhita, it says that there is one candle which is burning. Now you take another candle and you burn the second candle with the first candle. Then you burn the third candle with the first candle, fourth with the first. Now, after 50 candles are burnt, can you figure out which candle is the original candle? Not so much. Similarly, but the original candle is the original candle. Similarly, it is the original Sita Devi. But then from Sita Devi, all these expansions come out in different moods. And that's how we can understand. But it is ultimately Sita Devi. That flame of the candle is from that original candle. So in that sense, we can understand.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Hare Krishna. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Prabhu. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Any other questions or comments?
If not, we can end here. And please join tomorrow for the quiz session. And we learn a lot during that quiz session. Vancha kalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhubhya eva cha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda ki
Jai.
Srila Prabhupada ki
Jai.
Gaura Bhakta Vrinda ki
Jai.
Jai Bol Ram Lakshman Janaki Jai Bolo
Hanuman.
Jai.
Hare Krishna Mataji Prabhuji, thank you so much for a wonderful class.
Hare Rama, Hare.
Thank you, Prabhuji and Mataji. Hare Krishna, Danvan Pranam.
Thank you. Thank you.
Hare Krishna Mataji, Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Dandavat Pranam. Nice explanation. Thank you so much. Mataji, you are so beautiful today. You look like Mother Sita only. Bride, you're looking so cute. Hare Krishna, Hare Bol.
Hare Krishna, Mataji Prabhuji, Dandavat Pranam. Hare Krishna.
Koti Koti Dandavat Pranam Mataji Prabhuji, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.